We're back. This is a continuation. This is a part 2 from the last video, the 10 ways that magic is revolutionary. So if you have not caught part 1, I recommend you go check it out now. The link is in the description. And without further ado, let's break into the final 5. On a similar note, in terms of political actions and things that we can do to broaden our movement, even in terms of getting figures elected, staging protests, gaining traction and more people to our movement, everything that we do is going to attract attention. And with that attention, there is going to come repression. Now, magic and the occult offers us a very unique opportunity in that a lot of it is completely undetectable by everyone except a few people that are also in the know, and even to them, it's not as obvious as a lot of other forms of action are. So this allows us to have an avenue of action where we can act in pretty much complete secret. We are we're influencing forces that are unseen, and they will manifest in ways that are difficult to predict. Now, this allows us to kind of fly under the radar in a lot of places where it's really important. And I think that this is going to be instrumental coming up because that element of unpredictability, that element of information dominance, and being able to act in secret and fly under the radar is going to give us such leverage, such a strategic advantage that is going to be instrumental for the fight to come. So, it should be pretty obvious to everyone the enormous power that the evangelical movement in the United States has, as well as the great historical power of things like the Catholic Church. The amount of power and strength and ability to create group cohesion and tactical unity when people have shared belief in I don't want to call it supernatural, but metaphysical kind of spiritual reality. The amount of power that comes when you have people organized along those lines who are putting their shared intention and will and belief into something is absolutely enormous, and it's what has defined a lot of the political reality of our time. Even a lot of these religious institutions have been replaced by mass media and propaganda, and we're already seeing that kind of devolve and degenerate. And one of the things that gives people a great sense of belonging and a great sense of purpose is through this shared belief and this community. And it is through that we are able to organize people effectively, raise the consciousness of everyone involved, and pool our will, pool our intention, and pool our action to achieve change on a larger scale. Not just in like a small period of time, but we've seen over and over that these types of organizations and these types of movements are capable of creating change that spans hundreds, if not thousands of years, and to be making this historical jump, to be making this great revolutionary change. That's the kind of power that we don't want to leave alone. Of course, we don't want to fall into dogmatism. We don't want to fall into misleading people or using people based on these ideas of shared belief. I believe that if we're going to have this common association of magical and occult shared intention and belief, it does need to be based on a dialectical perspective, and it needs to be based on a perspective where people are coming to these decisions for their own. They are themselves participating in this experience and growing because of that, which means we're not going to have the same kind of uniformity and adherence to authority as those kinds of institutions are. But I don't want that. I certainly don't want that. And I believe that our revolution is going to come when people become more into themselves, rather than just the worship of an ideal or some idea of divinity. This conversation is happening in a vacuum, in This has been a hot topic of discussion as of lately, this idea of the secular versus the religious left, which a comment I've made is that itself is a false dichotomy, because not all people who don't necessarily consider them religious are totally secular either. I mean, you have the entire magical community and witches, a lot of which don't adhere to any sort of religious paradigm. It's more of like a syncretic or experimental dialectical approach of ideas. So not only is that a false dichotomy, a false paradigm that we're even beginning with, the idea, most people on the planet are still a member of a religion, and the magical community is absolutely enormous. So when we say that this doesn't have a place in our movement, we're cutting all of these people off, hamstringing ourselves, and really preventing any kind of working class unity for any type of serious, real change. And so what we want to do is we want to engage with that. We want to meet people where they are, and we want to see how many of these beliefs actually support our revolutionary paradigm that we're doing. Many of these people in spiritual, religious, and general like witchy and occult communities are ready for revolutionary change. Many of them are just ready to be radicalized and to be introduced to this. Many of them already are. And in order to fully integrate and leverage those communities into our movement, we can't just write off their fundamental beliefs. We have to engage with them, and by engaging with them and by learning from them, we'll find that it only makes us stronger, in addition to bringing the working class together, giving us a solid basis of collaboration and bringing us all together. Magick opens our minds in terms of what is possible, what is achievable, and part of the process of achieving any sort of manifestation is actually putting your mind in the mindset, in the emotional state of having already achieved it, of really viscerally experiencing that, not only conceptually understanding what it is, but visualizing it thoroughly so that you already feel like you're there. So if we are doing revolutionary magic, it is a requisite step to prefigure the kind of politics, society, even subjective experience and state of consciousness that we're trying to achieve, which I believe are fundamental steps to what we're doing. How can we go somewhere if we don't know our next steps or where we're going? How can we convince people to join our cause if they can't viscerally feel in their hearts that there's something worth fighting for? And I think that being able to visualize that will allow us to be that much more effective at creating it. Imagining systems of communication and politics and understanding and just being together and experiencing the world will allow us to then implement that. A lot of magic is fundamentally compatible with the principles of revolution and anarchism. And so much of it is about freedom. I mean, my patron deity Lucifer is all about freedom. Freedom from, sameness and oppression, and really that true form of power that's not power over others. It is power to. It is power to manifest whatever you want, to create the art and music, discover new truths, new knowledge. And that's what we're aiming for, because it's not just about tearing down what's there, it's about what we're going to build. And if we're able to show that, if we're able to demonstrate that first to ourselves and then to everybody else, it is going to be so powerful in moving us forward. And that brings us to number 10, which is a lot in the same lines. To be able to tell ourselves a story that moves us. If our life was a story, if it was a book, a movie, a video game, is it one that we'd want to be playing? What would you do to have that, to go from the drudgery and the sameness and the malaise and the banality to something that excites you? You can't wait to turn the next page. You're seeing yourself transform, and it feels freaking awesome. I mean, you got all the cool upgrades. You get to go on adventures and missions and discover new things and change the world. That's awesome. And that's what Magick allows us to do. It allows us to explore and learn new things about ourselves and to change the world. And it allows us to have that power, and it allows us to shape that narrative, not only about our own trajectory, but our shared experience, our story as a people, as a species, as life. And the story of life is it's pretty dark right now. I mean, the history has been really unkind to many of us in a lot of different ways. And it's not going, the people who have controlled that story, who have written the narrative, the bourgeois historians and economists, up to this point, they've had control of that cultural narrative and that shared understanding. And in order to achieve our revolutionary goals, we need to take that back. And we realize that upon taking it back, it's freaking awesome. Like, it is, like, we're going to have the most fun that we've ever had in our lives. So get ready for the ride of your life, because it's going to be amazing. It's not going to be more difficult than anything we've ever done, but it's also going to be a absolute thrill, and it will allow us to, develop our own character, to connect with the people around us, and to discover new things about ourselves in the world. And I find that so powerful. Emma Goldman, if I can't dance, I don't want to be in your revolution. If I can't, experience the joy of life, then what's the point? If we're not making it so that we can experience that joy and life and love together, and create the world that we want to live in, tell the story that we want to read, that we want to be in, then what's the point? And Magick, fundamentally, that's one of the things that it does. It's one of the things that it's about. And I think that engaging with it and encouraging it and making it a instrumental part of our movement and our community will only help in the future. Keeping everything dialectic, keeping everything chill, keeping it cool, it really allows us, each of us, to determine our own destiny, and when we come together, determine our destiny as a whole. So that's it. 10 things. Oh, it's hot. I'm gonna take my jacket off. Go check out Catalyst. The Catalyst got out. Oh. So, that is the video. It is so good to be back. I've been going more towards scripted videos and kind of winding up putting things off, and I was just feeling I was in a dark place for a long time, especially because I've really been struggling financially, and I've just been away for longer than I wanted to. So part of what I want to do is I want to lower the activation energy of getting these things out there, getting my message to you, and having this conversation together. And I think that I think this is a good start. I had a lot of fun making this one. It was a lot less intensive than the last one, and I honestly think it's probably going to be a lot better. Well, I'll let you be the judge of that. Anyway, I have had the best time. I've got a few new ones in the works. I am going to keep trying to explore and refine this format, and I want to do a once-a-week video cadence. We'll see how that works. Things are pretty tight around here for time and for finances. So I'm going to do what I can. I'm going to keep coding. I am going to keep doing what I'm doing. Go check me out on Twitter at Phosphoros888. I'm here at the Warlock Phosphoros, and on Instagram at the Warlock Phosphoros. If you feel so compelled, you can support us financially on our Patreon. It is very much appreciated. And yeah, go out there, go do the work, go join an organization. I was at the climate strike on Friday. It was incredible. It's not the end all be all, and we're really just getting things started right now and building the movement that is going to change the world. And we need to continue this ruthless criticism of everything that exists and continue to sharpen our saw and refine our approach until we achieve our ultimate aim, and then we need to keep doing it. Anyway, this has been the Warlock Phosphoros. I love you all. This has been so much fun. I will see you very soon. Feel free to shoot me a line if there's anything you want to do. I'm starting to work on the podcast too, so that'll be a lot of fun. Anyway, I won't keep you any longer. Have a great day. Love ya.